of 2016. The last was in the Alliance League final, which obviously certainly didn't go Kerry's way. Their supporters went back to the kingdom in a depression that evening. Now the question is, can they make amends, or will they come off second best once again? Well, that indeed is the question, and here in studio to contemplate it, we have a worried Kerry man, a confident Dub, and of course the other fella. That's Pat Spillane, Kieran Whelan and Joe Brolly. Pat, what's the mood in the kingdom?
Well, I know
the neutrals aren't giving you too much chance. Let's put it that way.
I mean, if there was an Olympic gold medal being handed out for Q tourism, Kerry would be the world leaders. Now, the following is not being a Q tour. Kerry people don't normally travel for All-Ireland semi-finals. The tradition has been we're waiting for the final because Kerry people confidently always expected to win the semi-final and probably win the All-Ireland. Kerry people are here in big numbers today. This is the biggest following they've ever had for a semi-final, I can tell you that. Why? Because they're travelling more in hope than in confidence, and that is certainly the case. They're looking at a team that could be at the end of the line. They're looking at a management team, it's his last year in charge, Eamon Fitzmaurice. They're looking at a lot of the great players that played with Kerry down through the years, the Gooches, and they're saying, maybe this could be their last big day in Croke Park. So anyone that is confident of a Kerry victory, when they ask you, do you think we'll win? There's a look of, please say yes in there. So it's honestly, and I'm not being the Q tour, I'm not being Kerry cuteness this time. We are travelling more in hope than in confidence. But if there's one thing we want, unlike last year, where we left Dublin play on their terms, this year we want to say at the end of the game, if Kerry do lose, that we've given it a lash, we've taken the game to Dublin.
Well,
that's
I certainly know that the mood is better in the Dublin camp. The mood was definitely good, Kieran Whelan, out in Whitehall last night. Yourself and Joe Brolly out there socialising.
It's because I was drinking.
Yeah, we're covering this morning, Michael. But listen, I suppose the mood is good in Dublin when you've won 26 competitive games in a row. Jim Gavin, they're in a good place, I suppose. And this is the time for Dublin. Dublin have to make hay with this team. There is 5 or 6 of them that are coming to the twilights of their careers as well. And I suppose it's a flip from like 2009. You go back to 2009 and the start of the earwigs, and Kerry gave us a thrashing. Traditionally, we had 30 years of hurt years into Kerry. And we used to come to Croke Park trying to do something different to mix it up. They had all the natural ability. They were the ones that expressed themselves. They were the ones that for 15, 20 minutes could do serious damage. Those roles have kind of reversed in the last few years, where the big word this week is Kerry doing something different. I keep hearing that all week, Kerry doing something different. So I know what you're saying, Pat, about Kerry want to play on their terms. Dublin hold the aces, really, and it's Kerry that are trying to, I suppose, to stop that Dublin strength.
The big turning point psychologically, I always thought, was whenever Tyrone and Armagh faced Kerry down, and didn't give a damn about them. Went for them, really went for them. And that showed the way, and I think that it showed the way for Pat Gilroy and opened up this new era in Dublin football. Because it is true that, we were all dazzled. When I was a child, you would have thought these guys, they were like gods, really, genuinely. And the idea, and I always remember what Paddy McGrath said, the Donegal player, whenever he was playing against Kerry in that famous quarter-final. He said, I looked across and I saw the Kerry boys and I thought, oh my God, I'm in the same pitch as Kerry men. And that feeling had to be broken, and it was broken during that era.
But Michael, there's one thing, and you'd have a better chance of finding out the third secret of Fatima than finding out what happens in Kerry training. But off the record last year, after they got beaten, you'd ask the lads, you'd say, what really happened? What do you think happened? And do you know what they'll tell you? They'll say, I think we spent too long analysing the Dubs. We worried so much about the Dubs that we forgot about what we were good at ourselves. So, there's a quotation I often use, winners worry about winning, losers worry about winners. And I felt last year we worried, as a Kerry team, worried too much about the Dubs and what they were bringing to the table, which is an awful lot, instead of focusing on what they're strong at.
All right, we've already had one game here at Croke Park this afternoon. That was the minor football semi-final between Kerry and Kildare. Pat, you're still producing footballers down there, beating Kildare on a scoreline 2 goals, 20 points to 10 points, the final score. So
We'd love to actually put one over in Dublin. They've lost the last 3 championship games, and Kerry will be playing for pride. Kerry need to win this one. A lot of the players have been around. In fact, there's 7 of the players playing today that played in 2007. One of the things that'll interest me, Dara, will be how the 2 teams finished. If you remember 2011, Dublin outscored Kerry in the last 7 minutes by a goal and 3 to a point. In the 2 years later, in 2013, remember again O'Gara and McMenamin's goals, and last year they were completely outplayed by Kerry. So Kerry will look for a performance performance. They'll look, to my mind, to crowd the middle area of the field. And Dublin is against that, will want to unleash the power of that half-forward line. A great game in prospect.
Absolutely. OK, Martin. Well, let's take a check on the two teams. And we're told, as Dublin arrive out onto the field, that the two teams are lining out as selected. More has been written this week about the influence of Stephen Cluxton, not just on the team he captains, but on the game itself. Kerry put him under pressure last year, but it didn't yield the victory. This full back line has been spoken about as an area where you can get at Dublin, but so far we haven't seen that work for a sustained period. That's in no small part due to the consistent performances of Johnny Cooper, who continues to impress. James McCarthy over his injury, he's back on the right wing, but John Small has taken his chance to claim the spot which Jack McCaffrey made his own over the last 2 seasons. Brian Fenton was man of the match in the All-Ireland final and has rapidly developed into a key part of this team. Kerry will have spent much of the last few weeks trying to figure out how to curb his influence. The power of this half-forward line well known, as is the ability of Kieran Kilkenny, who had 52 possessions against Donegal, and that was playing further back down the field. Targeting players is nothing new at all, but Diarmuid Connolly has that most matches. He was sent off in the quarter-final. He didn't score against Kerry in the final last year, so today takes on an extra significance for him. Now Kerry, and the rumour connecting Brian Sheehan with the starting goal was just that, but you can imagine that Brian Kelly wasn't too impressed with it. He has a point to prove today. There were plenty of stories too about a move further up the field for Mark Griffin with his power and pace, but he's listed to start at full-back. He could be switched as Kerry target matchups with Dublin forwards. Peter Crowley has done well on Diarmuid Connolly in the past and should pick him up again, but this year he's emerged as a real leader on the field for Kerry. There's been plenty of debate indeed about their best midfield pairing, but a lot will focus on David Moran. He was a contender for Footballer of the Year at this stage last year, but a disappointing end to the championship saw him drop out of the running. On his day, he's superb. Colm Cooper returns to the forward line for his 85th championship match. He perhaps could have started the quarter-final, but he wasn't risked that day. He will have more influence on this match than he did 11 months ago. And the quality in the full forward line is clear for all to see, but Paul Geaney has been in great form this year. His ability in the air will be a huge bonus as Kerry look to go after the opposing full-back line from early. So that's how the two teams line out. Now let's hear from the two managers. They've been speaking to Joanne Cantwell.
What's it like when you're coming up against a side who you must know inside out at this stage?
Yeah, we know Kerry very well, and they obviously know us very well too. So, two sides that are very familiar with each other, how we play, how we set up, and I think both sides have shown something a little bit different in this year's championship. And you know, to that end, we have really just focused on our game plan for the last 2 weeks, and you know, we're just looking for performance and the best we can be today. And if we can do that over the expanse of the game, hopefully we'll be thereabouts at the end.
Could it be something small upon which this game turned?
Over 82,000 people packed into Croke Park on the north side of Dublin. The referee is David Goff from County Meath, his linesman Joe McQuillan and Paddy Nealon.
Yeah, already they're interesting. Donaghy's gone in full forward. Colm Cooper's gone into the full forward line as well. And Cooper, I think, has been marked already, is going to be marked by Johnny Cooper.
Paul Murphy, it appears, starting in the half-forward line. Away we go. Mayo waiting for the winners of this. Brian Fenton, there was a rumour that he wouldn't start earlier on today, but he is fit to start, and Kerry will have to watch him closely. A slip from Diarmuid Connolly. Peter Crowley is marking him. He kept him scoreless in last year's All-Ireland final. Diarmuid Connolly dispossessed, the ball turned over. Donegal Walsh. He's just perpetual motion and constant work rate.
Yeah, that time I thought actually that Crowley was a little bit, or Paul Murphy rather, was a little bit loose on Connolly, but he was rescued by the work of Walsh.
It's a loose pass from Shane Enright. Davy Byrne getting his first touch of this All-Ireland semi-final. Michael, Dara, McCauley and Kieran Kilkenny. First of what will be multiple possessions over the course of this game. Here's John Small, recovered after that accidental collision with Eric Lowndes earlier on. Kevin McMenamin, desperate to start in this match as he is in every game. Michael Dara McCauley ran straight into Aidan O'Mahony. That's certainly going to hurt. Kerry with their defenders and others back in position. They've left 3 players inside the Dublin half at the moment as Dublin attack again with Diarmuid Connolly. Peter Crowley in front of him. Connolly looking for the first point of the game. He didn't score in the final last year. He's put that to right. after 75 seconds. Dublin lead by a point to no score. Connolly's got it.
Wonderful score by Connolly that time. Again, be marked by Peter Crowley. Very patient work, it must be said, by Dublin. And a wonderful finish, caressing the ball over the bar from Connolly.
Here's Tyg Morley. And that goes back to Brian Kelly. Killian Young, the Kerry captain on the field. Mark Griffin, loads of pace and lots of energy. And off he goes up the field. Tyg Morley again. And Morley lets it go early. It's gone in towards Donaghy, but over his head. The Gooch has it for Kerry. Colin Cooper just slipping. And Colin Cooper regained his balance, but he's put it wide. He's put it wide.
Yeah, that was a great opportunity that time for Cooper. Fielded the ball beautifully. Went on his right, went on his left. May have hurt his ankle actually in the process, but already a warning sign there for the Dublin defence that Cooper, given that type of supply, can really cause danger.
Well, he certainly did. Keane O'Sullivan. Brian Fenton. It's Anthony Marr close to him. John Small back to Fenton. Dermot Connolly. Kieran Donaghy back out around the middle. And now James McCarthy. Injection of pace. Dean Rock, great hands to Kieran Kilkenny. Now Bernard Brogan. Philly McMahon is up there with him from cornerback, and Bernard Brogan gets support, and Dean Rock couldn't bring it under control, and it's gone through to Brian Kelly. Oh, that was a close call. Dean Rock just couldn't hold on to it, and Kerry able to clear their lines.
Yes, it was a difficult enough pass that time actually from Bernard Brogan to Dean Rock. Slightly delayed, as a consequence it didn't go to hand.
Colin Cooper, look how deep he is. Kieran Donaghy's gone back in at full forward, and up there with him is Paul Geaney, who's also very good in the air. Here's Killian Young. Young in for Paul Geaney. He's got out in front of Byrne. They could be in here. Goal chance, Donegal Walsh. And Walsh couldn't take the chance. He was hit hard and fair, it would appear, I think, by James McCarthy.
Correct, Dara. Wonderful tackle that time. Shoulder to shoulder, perfectly executed by McCarthy. Prevented a certain goal, I would say.
Kerry got in around the back, but for James McCarthy's intervention. Here's John Small. It's a frantic start, as we expected, not even playing for 5 minutes. Here's Kevin McManaman, and he's got under that one certainly, but it's off in terms of accuracy. That's the first wide. Kerry could have been in down at the other end.
Yes, it could have been in that time. Just watch the pass. That time a little bit late by Bernard Brogan to Dean Rock. Had it been given fractionally earlier, I think Rock was in and goal, or rather Rock was in and goal, should I say. But watch that tackle that time.
It was Davy Byrne.
Davy Byrne, actually, yeah.
Referee David Goff spotted a push on a Dublin man out of midfield. So Paul Flynn takes the free. Bernard Brogan, it's gone over his head. He's claiming he was impeded by Shane Enright. Referee didn't agree.
Yes, and Aidan O'Mahony actually is playing sweeper for Kerry.
Here's Tyg Morley. Peter Crowley. Morley supporting. Darren O'Sullivan is available. He's got it now, and O'Sullivan fires it in. It's the Gooch and Starr in after it. It's caught for Dublin by Johnny Cooper.
Yes, you can already see the tactic that Kerry are going to try today. They're taking the ball down the sides and then launching in the diagonal ball to the twin threat of Donaghy and Cooper.
Keane O'Sullivan. It was thought that Kerry would try and man-mark Keane O'Sullivan.
But so far that hasn't happened.
No, at least force him and occupy his mind, not allow him just sweep up all over the place. Dublin had players drifting out the field. Dean Rock showing great pace, and now Bernard Brogan. Philly McMahon up with him. McMahon is through. Good save by Kelly. He got up the field again, nobody with him, and Philly McMahon will feel he should have scored a goal here.
Oh, that was a wonderful, wonderful play. Lovely dispatch that time from Brogan to McMahon, coming at speed. Who was tracking McMahon, it must be asked. But you have to hand it to Kelly. Very difficult shot to stop, right down, full length, deflects it out for a 45. that has resulted in the 45.
There's very little breeze around Croke Park today. Dull overhead. Dean Rock. Over it goes.
Yes, a confident start, it must be said, by by Dublin, rather. 2 points up, but playing lovely integrated football. Just watch that save again. Kelly will be really happy with the quality of that start.
Wasn't a great kick out though, and here goes Dermot Connolly. Thought about the shot, but just lost control of the football, and then surrounded by 3 Kerry men. Poor pass out, mistake by Killian Young. Michael Darragh Macaulay. Kieran Kilkenny. Kerry have left 4 up the field this time. Here's Dermot Connolly and a Kerry man down. I think it's Peter Crowley. The shot taken on and put wide. But Peter Crowley is going to need some attention.
Yeah, Crowley took quite a bang that time. I don't think there was anything malicious about it. Just watch it. Kilkenny coming through with the ball, gives the ball, and okay, there is nothing really in it. Hard enough, in fairness, on Crowley. But what would worry me from a Kerry point of view is that already in the game, Dermot Connolly has got on the ball about 6 or 7 times. He's getting far too much possession from a Kerry point of view.
David Moran, good clean catch. Bad pass though. It came off Brian Fenton, and that's just a giveaway, a gift of the ball back to Dublin. Brian Fenton. Bernard Brogan given too much space by Shane Enright. Kevin McMenamin is free, and Brogan has put that one wide. So that's their 3rd wide.
It's the 3rd wide, but already we've seen moments of integrated excellence from Dublin when they attack. Kerry are not getting the ball around the middle of the field, and they have untypically turned it over on 2 occasions in their last couple of possessions.
Ryan Kelly going for the other side. Michael Darragh Macaulay able to punch it down. Kerry's kick-out strategy is a bit of an issue. Michael Darragh Macaulay already. Kieran Kilkenny. James McCarthy. Paul Flynn. Dermot Connolly. Peter Crowley is there with him, and Connolly. That came off the upright.
Yeah, Connolly is getting on the ball so
Still in
much.
play.
And it's still in play, actually, yes.
So Aidan O'Mahony sweeps up the loose possession. Killian Young. Didn't quite go where he intended it to. Paul Murphy, deepest he's been. Anthony Marr, and now Tyke Morley. Still Kerry wait for their first score. We're in the 10th minute. Kieran Donaghy. It's Philly McMahon there with him. Anthony Marr again. Colin Cooper just trying to let the ball do the work, with Johnny Cooper in no mood to allow that happen. Kevin McMenamin and John Small. McMenamin again, that trademark step inside. Johnny Cooper has stayed forward and now starting to head back down the field. Kieran Kilkenny. They've runners popping up from every conceivable angle, and Dermot Connolly decides he doesn't need them. Referee hasn't given a free. Connolly wanted one. Here's Dean Rock running straight into Killian Young. McMenamin is free. Dean Rock has put that over the bar. 3 points to no score.
It's a fabulous start, it must be said, from Dublin. They're playing all the football. You know, at the other side of the field, they have Kerry ensnared in a web right from the beginning, apart from that one opportunity, you know, that Kerry got from Cooper. But just the level of instinctive improvise that they're attacking from, they're just all over Kerry.
Well, that was an important win on their own kick-out from Anthony Marr. But they're not getting any change out of the Dublin defence when they play the ball forward. Brian Fenton. Cian O'Sullivan off he goes. It's not easy to catch, although Paul Gainey doing his best to get back at him. Dean Rock has won a free.
It's much too easy for Dublin at the moment. One of the things the lads were speaking about earlier on was would somebody pick up Keane O'Sullivan, actually put pressure on him, but he's been given a free rein so far. He's acting as sweeper. In that case, they're coming up to support his attack and set up a good move that has resulted in the free in. But Kerry need to do something very soon around the middle of the field to get a grip there. They're not getting sufficient ball into the full forward line.
Dublin have created 8 scoring chances to Kerry's 2. And this guy, one of the criticisms of him in the past was that he didn't do enough from open play. He's done an awful lot in the first 12 and a bit minutes. And he has been close to perfection all year, whether off the ground or out of the hand. 4 points to no score.
Yes, a fabulous start. We've seen an example of their power, their pace, their athleticism, their dynamism. They're just spellbinding. Dublin are spellbinding at the moment.
Kerry have got to get out of their grasp and try and do something down at the other end. Do it quickly. David Moran, Anthony Marr. It's a strange atmosphere around the ground as well. It is jam-packed. Now, Marr fires it in long. Colin Cooper is the furthest forward, and he has fouled Johnny Cooper.
Yeah, he's playing behind Cooper, but clearly it's a move they have worked on, getting the long ball in, into the full forward line. But up to now, with the exception of that first attack, Johnny Cooper is curtailing the influence of his namesake.
Davy Byrne. Michael Darragh Macaulay. Once misplaces the foot pass. Now it's Donnchadh Walsh. They have to wait to get players forward. Paul Murphy ran into Brian Fenton. Real mismatch in terms of height. Kieran Donaghy. And now out to David Moran. Kerry, this is for their first score of the game. And that has come in the 14th minute from David Moran.
Yeah, lovely score that time from David Moran. Just drifted into the right half forward position, looked up and just stroked it beautifully over the bar.
Dermot Connolly feels he has the beating of Peter Crowley, who's got his arm on his shoulder. The referee was playing an advantage. We go back for the free.
Yes, so far, and I've said it already in commentary, that Dermot Connolly is getting on the ball repeatedly. He's running at the Kerry defence. Peter Connolly is finding it very difficult.
Dean Rock has scored 3, and that's a 4th. And from those kind of angles for a right-footed kicker, it is tricky, but he made it look routine and easy.
Yeah, just interesting now to see the way Kerry, or Dublin rather, are pressing the Kerry kick out.
Brian Kelly goes for David Moore and Brian Fenton behind. And after a fashion, Kerry secure their own ball. Mark Griffin, now Darren O'Sullivan. They want to get him running straight at the Dublin defence. That was a big collision. Griffin wasn't holding back. Neither was James McCarthy, and I think the ball was touched on the ground. It's a free out.
Well, that time it was James McCarthy that executed the tackle. Fantastic tackle on Griffin. Beautifully timed.
Dermot Connolly. It's not out of play.
Yeah, that's an untypical pass from Connolly. Normally he's such an exceptional passer of the ball with the foot.
It's their 11th time to meet in an All-Ireland semi-final. Of the previous 10, Kerry have won 6, Dublin 3, and there was 1 draw. Kieran Donaghy drifting out again. Paul Geaney is the furthest forward now. It's Donnchadh Walsh. James McCarthy comes out to meet him. Walsh holding onto the ball quite a while. Here's Paul Geaney, and that's a good score. That is better from Kerry. They picked their way through the lines of cover, and Geaney applied the finish.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He unpicked the lock that time. Great perseverance, it must be said, by Donnchadh Walsh. Typical slaloming run through the Dublin defence. And finally, my forward of the year with Kerry so far, Paul Geaney, finishing it off beautifully.
At 2-12 he scored in the championship. James McCarthy is receiving treatment.
That was very careless, actually, Darrell.
The distance between Johnny Cooper and Stephen Cluxton.
Well, I thought he picked the ball off the ground, actually. I may be wrong on that, but the distance also was questionable.
Look at it again. It has been an issue. The referee's going to throw the ball in.
Oh, yeah. It was to do with distance.
So Fenton and Kieran Donaghy. That's an interesting battle. It makes some sense out of that. James McCarthy has it. And he's hassled and harried, and he held onto it too long. Free in. Is the tide turning?
Yeah, that's a pretty harsh decision, it must be said.
And now there's some stuff going on.
A little bit of messing going on. Kerry are starting to find their mojo, it must be said. First time in the game, really, they're getting the ball consistently into the Dublin backline. That time, I thought myself it was a free out, but David Goff saw it otherwise, saw an over-carrying offence, and now is given an easy opportunity to Colin Cooper to finish.
Yeah, to bring it back down to 2 points. He's only scored a goal and 3 points in this year's championship. And over that goes. So they've got 2 in a row for the first time in the game.
Yeah, those 2 points actually certainly will give them a fillip. Will, you know, in a game that they have been territorially playing second best, that will certainly get them going.
Next score will be interesting. Michael Darragh McCauley. And they give them the space and then try and squeeze from here, Kerry. Paul Flynn, Brian Fenton. Kerry have left 3 players inside the Dublin half, and the referee didn't like a stray elbow going in there against Anthony Marr. Free in.
Yeah, he made it very clear that time that it was a neck-high tackle, actually, and, you know, typical Michael Darragh McCauley barreling away, doing his best to actually create the...
A shoulder injury. Dean Rock has scored the last 4 points for Dublin. 2 from play, 2 from frees. That's from 44 metres out, and that is brilliant.
Yeah, beautifully struck. We'll come back to James McCarthy a moment. I think it was that tackle, you remember, up through the middle. He really collided very, very hard with
Mark
forward.
Griffin, yeah.
With Mark Griffin that time. Might have done more damage to himself.
Well, 2 Dublin players around the 1 Kerry man that Brian Kelly aimed at. That kick-out policy from Kerry still isn't working great. Kevin McManaman is starting to work in a very effective way for the All-Ireland champions. In the blink of an eye, they open up a 4-point lead again.
Yeah, that's far too easy again. A wayward kick out, easily picked up at the break, easily picked up by McManaman. Far too much room given to him. No pressure on whatsoever as he put that over the bar.
And having got back up close with Dublin, Kerry now 4 behind again. This is Killian Young taking them all on himself. Paul Gainey has scored 1 point already, spins around and gets his second. That's a really nice score. Made for Kerry by Killian Young, executed by Paul Gainey.
He makes things look so simple when he gets the opportunity. Turns, shoots, executes. Great score from Gainey. Again, living on scraps, it must be said, but within, you know, 1 kick of the ball, it must be said, Darragh, of Dublin.
There's Kevin McManaman almost playing like a left half back.
Yeah, he orchestrates so much, you know, anytime he gets the ball, he's probing, he's prompting, he's trying to get the best out of, you know, others in front of him, but he needs runners, just as in that case there.
Connolly fires it in over the head of Paul Flynn. Mark Griffin collects for Kerry. Kerry have 3 substitutes out warming up. And now there's a space again for Killian Young. Last time he was in this position, he made a point, and that is for Colin Cooper. Cooper can't hold on to it. Kieran Donaghy threw himself in at the ball. It's loose on the ground. Donaghy's able to pick it, but the referee says he picked it up off the ground. But telling again, when the ball went into Colin Cooper, there were at least 2 Dublin men sweeping in front of it. Darren O'Sullivan with a big turnover for Kerry. Colin Cooper drifted out. Now Kieran Donaghy, but he hasn't got the pace to cope with Johnny Cooper. That was too easy. I wonder has Kieran Donaghy got a bit of a problem. He's not moving very freely. Seemed to clutch at his left hamstring. And Dermot Connolly attacks again. 23rd minute, Dublin by 7-4. Bernard Brogan. That's Shane Enright in front of him. Kieran Kilkenny, who hasn't been as prominent today, and Bernard Brogan got clear, and that should have been sent over the bar, and the referee, I think, is going to go to Hawkeye. Umpires have not signalled it wide, but now they have on instruction from referee David Goff.
Yeah,
they're not using the technology, it's wide.
Yeah, and again, all of that came from, you know, a turnover that basically Donaghy should get the ball, or should have got the ball, and you just wonder, are there signs that his capacity is beginning to, you know, has diminished somewhat? He easily beaten on a one-to-one that time.
David Moran trying to catch that one-handed. Another Kerry kick-out goes against the head. Here's Michael Darragh Macaulay. Barnstorming run. Bernard Brogan. And Brogan takes his point. That one certainly did go over the bar. But Kerry, from their own kick-out, they're just not giving Brian Kelly enough options out the field as to where he's to send the ball.
They're not working hard enough, it must be said, and it's against that Dublin around the middle area are just coming on to everything, and that enthusiasm and vitality that Macaulay has shown, you know, over the years, once again in evidence.
And there's another one from Kelly. Mitchell comes straight back at them. Dermot Connolly. Connolly got the first point of the game, and he's now got his second. The lead grows again.
Well, I'm sure the boys will kind of talk about it. They can have the stats for it at half-time, how many Dublin scores have come from wayward Kerry kickouts, but there's no doubt about it at the moment. They're finding it very difficult, in particular when the ball is put long, to actually retain possession.
Dublin have won 4 out of their 5 kickouts. Kerry 7 out of 13.
That tells it all.
Shane Enright. Well, will the high ball work? It's gone in towards Kieran Donaghy. He's got it too. Donaghy has helped Paul Gainey. That's what they want to do more of.
Yeah, that's a lovely score from Gainey once more. So simple, you know, again, high ball in, good touch from Donaghy, well won, and again, just giving it to Gainey. Doesn't bother any embellishment whatsoever, just puts it simply over the bar. That's the 3rd score, I think, Darragh.
It is indeed. Davy Byrne. Paul Flynn. Brian Fenton. Darren O'Sullivan tracked John Small and did enough to impede him as Peter Crowley gets the ball and now lets it out to Colin Cooper. Donaghy runs near him. Paul Gainey is the furthest forward, and it's angled way out for Paul Gainey, and he's going to need some support, but Colin Cooper has taken up a good position, now spotted by Brian Fenton. Cooper gets it back again, covered a lot of ground in this move. Anthony Marr. Marr lets fly, and that's going to drop in towards Kieran Donaghy. What was going on with him and Philly McMahon? Well, the referee saw nothing wrong.
I think it was 6-1, half it was the other, Philly McMahon and Donaghy wrestling for the ball. I think one blaming the other that it was they who were doing the fouling.
Now Killian Young needs to get back as Kevin McMenamin just hit the turbo button. Bernard Brogan now, very tricky angle. Brogan, that's going to drop in. Brian Kelly's in after it. That's good, brave goalkeeping. Got there ahead of Dean Rock, had to.
Yeah, great work that time, it must be said, by Brian Kelly. That time a very difficult ball to cope with, in particular when you heard the likes of Dean Rock steaming in you.
Paul Murphy doing a lot of work off the ball. Paul Gainey couldn't hang on to it, and Johnny Cooper gets his free.
Yeah, in general, the Dublin full back line are coping well with the Kerry full forward line. The exception being at times when Gainey gets on the end of moves, he's just, you know, getting scores quite easily. But Dublin will be very happy, particularly with the sweeper system. Cian O'Sullivan is playing very well so far.
Kieran Kilkenny. Kevin McMenamin. Dean Rock is the furthest forward. McMenamin gets away from his marker. Now Paul Flynn. Cian O'Sullivan invited to shoot. Did it go over?
No,
I think they're going to have to go upstairs, I think. Yeah.
I thought now from this angle that we were watching it, actually Darrell was wide, but again, just typical of the game so far. Cian O'Sullivan managing to get up getting up the field, nobody tracking him, and basically, that overlap that's being created by the Dublin backs is causing an awful lot of trouble for the Kerry defence.
Well, it was a really nice move. Well, it's wide. So that's their 5th wide.
Just watch this kick out again and see how they're going to work on this one. Dublin are closing down the kick-outs very, very well, forcing Kelly to go long.
Well, Aidan O'Mahony could have been picked out as a short option, but who did that last touch? Well, it's still in play. Michael Darragh Macaulay. Anthony Marr. David Moran. Brian Fenton, a referee, playing an advantage. David Moran has his free, and they'll want to... I thought they would want to get on with it quickly, but they have to go back.
Yeah, David Goff made it very clear that he was giving the advantage, none accrued, therefore the free kick is given.
Peter Crowley. Kieran Donaghy, fouled by Cian O'Sullivan.
Yeah, Donaghy that time got out in front of O'Sullivan. Donaghy, I suppose, at this stage, it's been told by Eamon Fitzmaurice to go out and try and pick up O'Sullivan and put some pressure.
Martin, look at this down. This was...
Yeah, that was the
Kieran
earlier
Donaghy
one.
and Philly McMahon.
Yeah, I thought in that case Philly McMahon probably was fouling him initially.
Successful with 1 free already, Colin Cooper. And that one has gone over, and they're hanging in there, but more than that, just trailing by 3.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about them, like only 3 points in it, but again, it's typical of Kerry. They might be, they mightn't be kind of playing at their best, but they're very much staying in the contest, and you just sense that at some stage they're going to get an opportunity.
Now here's Paul Gainey after a bad kicker. They could be in for a goal here. It's in the back of the net. A meltdown from Stephen Cluxton.
Well, I just had said it, it looked to me as if they might get that opportunity, but it's most unusual. As they often said, even Homer nods. That time an untypical kick-out from Cluxton. A lovely piece of quick hands by Kerry. Donegal Walsh to Darren O'Sullivan. Fabulous goal.
And Darren O'Sullivan has stayed down, actually, in the back of the net. He was hurt in that collision with Johnny Cooper. Yeah. The sides are level.
Totally against the run of play, but... Yeah, he's pushed onto the post that time, I think it was it Johnny Cooper?
He's okay.
He's fine.
He is okay, Darren O'Sullivan. And this is interesting now. Now, Donegal. So, they're rocking. And that goal has rocked them, but can Kerry capitalise on it even further? As we head towards half-time, Kerry hung in there. Here's Colin Cooper. And Darren O'Sullivan again. Off target with the pass. Donegal Walsh couldn't pick it up. Here's David Moran. That's Brian Fenton there with him. And Moran trying to curl that one back in. It's gone wide, though. It's Kerry's 2nd wide. Let's get the thoughts of Desi Dolan.
Yeah, amazing. Dublin dominating the match. 5 wide, so it's hard to believe. They need to put pressure on Stephen Cluxton's kickouts. That's the best way to get advantage over these dubs.
Kieran Kilkenny off target with his pass. Donegal Walsh has it back for Kerry, and you can just feel this green and gold surge around Croke Park at the moment.
Oh, very much the sap is rising with Kerry at the moment. They've taken great heart from those last 2 scores by Colin Cooper and by Darren O'Sullivan. Very much in the game now, certainly on the scoreboard. They'll be very happy.
Paul Flynn is receiving treatment down injured at the moment. Colin Cooper given a lot of space by Johnny Cooper. Now it's Paul Gainey again. Could they get their noses in front before half-time? David Moran goes away from Fenton. Well, no, he doesn't. He's closed down. And then it's Cian O'Sullivan who crunches into Paul Gainey, who's hurt. He's gone down injured, and the referee is going to stop play because Paul Gainey is clearly hurt.
Yeah, in fairness, Keane Sullivan went hard for the ball that time and it was loose, went in tough on him. Paul Ganey on the receiving end of it. Just watch this going in here. And in fairness, Keane Sullivan went hard for the ball, took man and ball, it must be said. You know, again, Dar, you're looking at two teams, I believe myself, who are naturally disposed to attack. Dublin, certainly from an early stage, kind of went very much on the offensive. I thought Kerry were somewhat confused in contrast, but those last couple of scores have certainly tilted the balance somewhat now in Kerry's favour, even though from a point of view of possession and territory, they have been very much second best up to now.
It took Kerry 14 minutes to get their first score of this All-Ireland semi-final. Dublin had a 5-point lead at one stage. It wasn't that long ago, actually. It's 9 minutes ago. Brian Fenton leaping up like a salmon to catch the ball. John Small. There's a statistic you don't see every day. Dublin haven't scored in the last 10 and a bit minutes. James McCarthy. Diarmuid Connolly. Kerry has scored 1-2 without reply. Brian Fenton. Kieran Kilkenny. That's Paul Murphy there with him. Haven't seen a lot of either of them on the ball, and that's got to be down to the job Paul Murphy is doing on him. Here's Kevin McManaman. Scored a brilliant point earlier on, jinking one way then the other, then runs into three Kerry men and fouled the ball.
Yeah, but just watch the pressure that Dublin, or that Kerry rather, are subjecting the Dublin forwards to at the moment. And another point, Paul Flynn and Kieran Kilkenny have made very little impact on the game so far. Players that you expect an awful lot from in the Dublin team.
In added time, here's Kieran Donaghy. Donegal Walsh. That's fired in towards Paul Ganey. Colm Cooper is up there with him. Wonderful catch over his shoulder. Cooper's free. Is there a point? Is this the lead for Kerry before half-time? You can bet your bottom dollar it is. They lead for the first time, and that's been a stunning comeback from Kerry. The job only half done, but they're in front.
The last four scores from Kerry's from the 24th minute, from Ganey's point, Cooper's point following that, and then Darren O'Sullivan's goal. Now once again, Cooper, fantastic response from Kerry.
His movement to get free was fantastic. Dublin now can't win their own kick-out. A lot of space for Anthony Marr. Half-time may come at the wrong time for Kerry. Anthony Marr isolated. Needed help, or does he? He just swung a left boot at that. You know, it could turn out to be brilliant. Cluxton struggling. Oh, did it go over the line? Yes, it's a goal. It's given as a goal. Now, the referee has gone in to talk to the umpire, or is he going to talk to one of the Dublin players? But the goal has been given to David Goff.
Well, the umpire was quite clear about it.
He did flag. The umpire definitely flagged. Is it a goal or not? That's the issue.
Unless I'm just wondering, had David Goff blown for a free once the kick had been given for some foul out the field? But certainly the umpire signalled a goal. And to my mind, okay, I'm not sure what David Goff is at the moment.
Yeah.
One of the Dublin players is certainly going to be booked here. I have a feeling it's Philly McMahon. Just watch the ball coming in. It certainly goes over the line, it must be said. And I think once again it was Paul Ganey in on top of it.
There's very little doubt about it, but the referee has booked Philly McMahon.
He's booked Philly McMahon, but wait a moment, I don't... Yes, it's up now in the scoreboard.
The goal stands. The goal stands. Dublin conceding a second goal in the space of 7 minutes.
Another kick,
and it's all Kerry now. The Kerry man down injured. The referee's going to give a free in a central position. Darren O'Sullivan was fouled off the ball.
Yeah, Dublin are panicking, must be said, from Cluxton's kickouts to a lot of unnecessary fouls being conceded. And here I think we have John Small being booked for an incident.
So a yellow for him. There's all sorts of stuff going on here, but that's Dublin and Kerry.
Yes, you can't script it, Dara. There's no doubt about it, but that high ball that came in, Ganey had every right to follow it in that time and just spooked Cluxton somewhat and deflected the ball into the net.
Here's Colm Cooper. Wasn't it Darragh O'Shea this week who said Kerry were desperate to stop Dublin from beating them for a 4th successive time. Colm Cooper with the free, the roar from the Kerry supporters as we head towards half-time. Cooper's done his stuff. Dublin haven't scored in the last 14 minutes, and Kerry are in a great position, leading by 2-8 to 9 points here at Croke Park.
And their last 6 scores of the half, actually, Dara.
An amazing final quarter of the first half. And at half-time, Kerry lead Dublin by 2-8 to 9 points.